Hello, hello, hello. It's Lisa Copeland, and I am so excited today to bring you a really great show. I've been talking about how to pivot. Seems like everybody I know has been pivoting during this pandemic, during the last 10 weeks. And so my guest, my good friend, has done the very same thing, and he's had some really major pivots in life. So let's cue up the intro, and then we'll get started. How do you guys like that intro video? I made it. It took me like 5 minutes, but I'm so dang proud of it. So anyways, I want to bring on my very dear friend of many years who has had several really big pivots in the last few months. And he's been wildly successful at all of them. But because we're such good friends and we talk all the time, I know that he's had some challenges with these pivots. So we're going to bring him on without further ado, Mr. Aaron Sheeks. Let's add you to the stream. Hello, my friend.
Hi there. How are you?
You have better hair than I do today.
Oh, I mean, that's flattering. No one has better hair than you do, Lisa. Maybe Frank Lopes. He's got great hair.
You and Frank Lopes.
Yeah,
of all the men I know, yeah, Aaron and Frank have the best hair on any man on planet Earth.
That's flattering. I think Frank takes the cake, though. He's got hair that I'm jealous for. So.
And Frank has stayed at my house. He and his wife. Let's be clear. Yeah. Actually, he has when my husband's been here, and he wakes up with that hair. I got my Frankie. Like you just can't disturb the hair. It's unbelievable.
This doesn't wake up this way. It's more of a taming process. So I'm jealous.
Well, I am so glad that you agreed to join me today. And you know that I've been doing this whole series and talking to people about pivoting. Don't panic, pivot. And your pivot had nothing to do with panic. So why don't we start with the biggest pivot of all? I didn't even tell you to do this, but do you by any chance have a picture of my children?
I don't. I'm one of those dads that never have updated office photos in their office. So unfortunately, you'll have to peek at the twins on Facebook.
Okay.
But the good news is they're great.
How old are the twins now? So your first big pivot was you and Tammy had twins during a pandemic.
It was.
Oh, it was actually right before the pandemic.
I would say right before the pandemic, not the most ideal time to have babies, but we're grateful no matter what. So identical twin girls, they're 4 months and a week-ish, 4 months and 10 days old. So they are.
And y'all have got a Facebook stock, Aaron. You've got these children are beautiful.
They look just like their mother. So we're very fortunate. They do not look like me at all. So it's great. But they're good. They're teething. So if we look a little tired, we have twins that don't sleep a ton. But we're super happy to that they're home and that they're healthy. And we made it through this crazy ICU period with COVID and all of the stuff. So it's good to have my family all under one roof. I got all my girls in one place, and life is great.
So you have 4 girls.
I have 4 girls. #
Okay,
girl dad.
What do you think about that, girl dad?
I think I had a really good time in my 20s. I always lead with that because it's I'm now learning a different angle of life that I'm super, super grateful for. And my only hope is that one of them learns to swing a golf club. I just need somebody to come golfing with me when I'm old on Sundays. And 1 out of 4, I got pretty good odds.
Now I see a picture behind you, and you were in a military uniform. So tell us about your distinguished military career.
Distinguished, thank you. I did 10.5 years or so active duty. I started kind of as an enlisted guy, worked my way up through the ranks, tracking submarines, doing fun stuff, and then went back to flight school. And then it was actually just really good timing where my family started to develop, and I knew that life was fun, but it wasn't going to be fun to be a dad. And it was time to that was my first big pivot, 7 or 8 years ago now. So it was the best time of my life. Family members that are still in the service, and I'm super grateful. It is very, very near and dear to my heart. But yeah, it was time to kind of, I guess, hang up the uniform and put on the dad shirt, and super grateful that I chose to do it when I did.
So was it like what we watch on Top Gun? Because you were an aviator and all that. So were you like Tom Cruise?
Look, I think the movies are that, super popular. I hope that everybody goes and sees them. I think they're great. My buddies are Top Gun guys. They're much, much smarter, tip of the spear kind of pilot folks. So much props to those guys that are out there putting it on and doing the job. But no, my naval experience was other than being in the same place as Top Gun was not very Top Gun-esque.
I think I must have met you right about the time you got out of the military. I was trying to think today what year I met you. It had to have been like 13 or 14.
You met me 6 weeks after I got off of active duty.
Really?
My very first professional business trip, I was fortunate enough to attend a Dallas Mavericks Cleveland Cavs game with the great Lisa Copeland and your friends at FCA. That was literally my very first kind of taste.
I snuck you up into the suite and kind of got in trouble for it afterwards because y'all were vendors, right? And I was on the National Consumer Council, and I'm like, I like these people. They're my friends, because you were with Amber, and Amber's a great friend of ours.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I was super fortunate to be there, and I met great folks like Denny and other folks just being in that, in that booth. And I'm a big Cavs fan, so it was nice.
My son was there. I snuck him up there too.
Yeah. J.T. was there. So great times, and really a phenomenal way to launch my automotive career was.
I did not realize I was like your first business trip meeting, and I sneak you upstairs to hang out with us.
It really was. Outside of Amber, you were probably the first person to know what my big picture goal was, and I'll never forget it. You said, "Don't wait 20 years to chase your dreams." You said, "Don't wait 20 years to start your business." And
did I have those wise words for you that night in the suite when we were sitting there drinking? Because I'm very, very prophetic after a few cocktails usually.
We had a couple adult beverages, and no kidding, those words have stuck with me because I went to your office and I sat in the big chair. I still have the picture; it's pretty cute. Your pink office and everything, you were like at this realm of automotive royalty that I didn't even understand, to be completely honest. And you gave me some really candid advice that I've known since day one that I want to trust, that I want to control my own destiny, that I wanted to live on my own terms. And you were like, "Hey, don't wait." Like I was 28 or 29 maybe at the time, and you're like, "Do not wait."
When I met you.
I mean, just skinny still and in good shape and without facial hair and those are
still very clean cut military guy. You were still clean cut military guy because I remember when you came in the dealership, you had all those young girls that worked for me. They're like, "Oh my God, who's Tom?" And I just remember them, who's Tom Cruise walking in the dealership?
No, I don't know.
I'll forget about it.
I had a really good time in my 20s, but that's, every once in a while I clean up okay. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So those were fun times. And so I don't know if you remember, but I had to leave you guys because I was going down with Reed Bigland, who was the number 2, still is, maybe number 1 at FCA now. And we were going down into the players' garage with Dr. Sorial, who was my client. I sold it out for him, and he was the team doctor for the Mavs.
Yeah, you guys were like shooting hoops with Cuban and stuff. I think either
down in the and then looking at all these Ferraris with spinners on them. Like, I'll never forget that. I'm like, who put spinners on a Ferrari? And he's like, NBA players do. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
So then I think I came back up after that, and that's all I could talk about was Ferraris and spinners. Okay, so fast forward a few years, you and I have known each other a really long time. We kind of ran like face to face into each other at the airport. Like, what city were we in? Like, you and I we're such globetrotters. I don't remember what city we were in. It was like it was Philadelphia.
I was like, it was either Chicago or Dallas, I think. But
no, it wouldn't have. It was Chicago. It was Chicago because like Dallas, it's no big deal. But it's like I run right into you in Chicago.
I think it was probably O'Hare. I'm a Chicagoland guy these days, and in and out of as many airports. Me too. In and out of as many airports as I could get in and out of over the last few years. So. I think there's worse places maybe in the world to be than Chicagoland these days, but we live in a pretty interesting state with some interesting stuff going on currently in life. So I wouldn't be upset if I got to fly out at all. I keep
inviting you to come to Texas. I'm like, y'all need to move to Austin. Aunt Lisa can hang out with the babies and
look, your weather is definitely better in the wintertime. So it's appealing.
So is our economy and our politics, but that's
it is. If I could bring Grandma and Grandpa with us, it's a done deal.
You can bring Grandma and Grandpa with you. We'll just find you a house that has a casita.
See, there you go. We'll talk them into it.
Okay, there you have it. Hopefully Grandma and Grandpa are watching today, or maybe Miss Tammy Sheeks is watching. She's going to go, see, Lisa says we need to come to Texas.
Yes,
right, So I bumped back into you in the airport several years ago. And we're just like, oh my God. And you're like, I've got the job of my dreams, this corporate company. We're really innovative. We're disruptors. but more, but you had just started, and because you know me, I'm like, tell me more.
Sure.
And you were like, no, I want to make sure it's good, and then we'll reconnect on it. So it was good, and we did, and I worked with you, and you and I have worked side by side on many projects over the last couple of years. And but you still had that burning desire to be an entrepreneur. And every time I talk to you, I know your father-in-law is a very successful entrepreneur. You got your MBA, or your master's?
I have my MBA. Yep.
Yeah, your MBA when you were in the military.
Yep, I did it kind of as graduate school once I got off active duty. So the military helped me go back to school, and I'm very grateful that Uncle Sam picked up the tab on my entire college and postgraduate kind of career. So thank you. I mean, that if nothing else, the great times and memories and the people in the service were worth it. But the education piece was massive for me. Coming small town kid from a cornfield in Ohio was a big deal.
Absolutely. And so why did you feel like you needed an MBA? I mean, did you feel like you needed it because someday you're going to start some giant company? And I mean, because like I said, ever since the day I met you, and I guess that first night I met you, I'm sitting there telling you what you need to do with the rest of your life. I'm kind of known for that. But,
no, not you.
Not me. I'm not bossy.
You. I think I got my MBA for a couple different reasons. One, it was free, and it would have been just a waste of kind of benefits for me to not further kind of develop myself and continue learning and take advantage of the program that the military had. But I also knew that growing up really as an adult in the military, I learned a lot of leadership traits. I learned a lot of how to treat people, how to serve people, how I wanted to be the type of leader that I wanted to be. But I really didn't know a lot about Lisa. I'm saying Lisa, about a lot about business. Hi, Chantel and Natalie. I didn't know a lot about business, to be candid. So for me, it was a way to understand the money side of business, to understand where things should go, not just managing a budget, but actually being able to develop and build one. Hi, Mabel. So the MBA for me was a little bit of a multifaceted piece where it was just silly for me not to take advantage, but it also was a great opportunity for me to really study big business and to kind of level myself up. And it's paid dividends, I suppose, coming into corporate America and understanding, some of those processes and how they kind of roll downhill. So super grateful that I did the exercise.
Leadership, management, I know you're really a great leader. I actually, it was funny. I was on a trip in Mexico, and it was for a birthday, for Renee's birthday, and her cousin worked for you. I'm like, oh no, this is not good.
He was on the team. It is a small world, but we great to have. It was great to have Brian on the team. He's still there. He's doing huge things. So it's luckily that I've been very fortunate to be associated with really smart people that are really professional at the top of their game. And thankfully, folks like you and other top players have maybe seen a little bit of that in me, or at least how I work or what I bring to the table. And I've been able to run in that circle and just do really good work for folks. And that's kind of been my staple for the last 7 or 8 years was, what you're going to get from me, and how hard I'm going to run, and I'll prove it to you with either my team or my product. And that's something that I think we built there, with the last gig, and Brian was lucky to come in and kind of take the torch and run with it. So
I just remember texting you from the beach going like, Aaron, I can't even make this up. I'm with your wife in Mexico. Oh, by the way, I'm about to take another shot.
You can't escape me. I'm everywhere. When I'm in full sales mode, I'm everywhere. You can't get away from me.
You are everywhere. I got this hat's like falling down over my eyes. So one of the things, I think one of the reasons that you are so successful is because you are a master connector, right? And not only do you connect, but you stay connected to people. Like I think of all the years that you and I've stayed connected, right? And that's really important in sales. There's a lot of people out there that are watching right now, or that'll catch this on the replay. And they're like, how do you go out and how do you build a career where, what I like to say is where you kind of recycle your friends and your clients. And I take it back to when I ran the mortgage company, then I had an insurance company, then I went in the car business, now in real estate. And I have the same clients. I'm just selling them something different.
Yeah.
And I have literally have clients out there in this universe right now where I've done their house, their insurance, their mortgage, sold them cars. And, they're always just waiting for my next big idea. Right. But they're my clients. And I think that Mabel says it's been 5 years. Let's see. It's been 5 years since I've known Aaron. Okay. I remember that. I totally remember you were like, do you know Mabel? And I'm like, yeah, I know Mabel, but I didn't know her as well as you did. How do you know Mabel?
So we actually met, I think, a digital dealer in Tampa, maybe, and I was running the booth there for the Gooba Goo team back in the day. My first kind of automotive
I was
stop.
about to say, that was way back in the day.
It's actually a great story. Mabel may not want me to tell it, but I had a sales guy who thought Mabel was really cute.
Mabel? He's gonna tell it.
Doing it. I had a sales guy who thought Mabel was just really attractive, and she was on the floor. She is, right? So it was no brainer. I was like, you won't talk to her. You're afraid. And this guy was not afraid of anything. He was a hustler. He wasn't afraid. So he walks right up and brings her over. And then we end up just talking business, and turns out she's an amazing person, you know, has a great kind of presence in what she wants to do in the business and what she offers the clients. And she said, tell it. And it just, I mean, immediately fell right into that top tier level of kind of people that we like to run with.
Oh, yeah.
And now here we are 5-6 years later, and she's still at the top of her game, and we've, you know, stayed connected.
She is crushing it with FCA, with Chrysler. I've told her she needed to dump that Volvo brand, dump those Swedes, and jump on to the FCA train. And she did, and she's doing 30-something plus cars a month in a pandemic, in the center of the pandemic.
I know. She's with my boy over at Ramsey. I'm super stoked that they connected and they're doing good stuff. So she's a hustler, and I was lucky to meet her completely by chance, and just being, you know, genuine and trying to just be, you know, innovative on the floor. She says, LOL. So yeah, I mean, it's literally been those types of situations, but to be really honest, Lisa, I learned from the best. I learned from you and from folks to not burn bridges, to network on your level, to bring not only value, but integrity to what I do in my job, and to bring that every single time, no matter what it is, and to never really put my integrity on the line, because that's something in our business that you can't get it back. We're a relationship business in automotive land. I don't have to tell you that.
Right.
If you burn one, you just burned 100, because they know each other. And it's just not something that I was ever really willing to sacrifice for anything. So, you know, whether it's my personal life or my professional expectation level, maybe too high on myself, but yeah, I think that's honestly been my success, is staying in contact with folks like you, making sure that I'm always bringing value and transparency. And luckily we have really great people in our business that value that.
And the thing is, hold on, let's see, Lisa will teach you everything you know in life. All you have to do is listen to her. Okay, whoever said that, I love you, but it just says Facebook. So I need you to click the StreamYard link, or at least put your name down there so I can thank you properly, because bless you, I wish everybody in the world would just listen to you, wherever you are.
I was going to say we need it on a t-shirt.
Hashtag just listen to Lisa.
Just hashtag listen to Lisa.
Yeah, hashtag listen to Lisa. Okay, so that being said, I'm kind of doing the big buildup. Let's see. I want to see who that is. Oh, it's Anthony. But Anthony Santangelo, I already had you up here. Is it a different Anthony? I'm not sure, because your other Anthony shows. Anyways, but thank you, the Anthonys, because I've got a few Anthony friends that I think the world of. Okay, so this is kind of the big buildup. So, you know, I mean, you and I have talked a lot during all this, and you know, you're sitting home, you're working from home, you were a guy on the road, just like me. Like you and I both of our airplanes got grounded about 13 weeks ago.
Yep.
You and I'd talk, and we'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a lot to sit at home. And especially for you, when you've got two brand new babies, like two at the same time. And you're supposed to have in-laws that could come help, and some help that was going to come in and help Tammy. And all of a sudden you're in quarantine and people can't come. And so it's you trying to run your big business. It's Tammy trying to just probably keep her sanity. God bless her.
Just really dealing with me is the hardest job she has.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay, with Santangelo. Thank you, Anthony. You were too kind, my friend. So anyways, and so we were kind of talking, and you had said, you know, you're like, I really have the itch. Like I think it's just time, you know, and, you know, I just know, Aaron, so many people that pivoted during the pandemic, you know, myself included.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I think you just sit around and you look at four walls and you're like, damn, there's got to be more than this. Or, you know, for me, it was, I kind of like not being on an airplane all the time, which I know you're going to get into in just a second, especially having four babies. And you and I both have just such hectic schedules for traveling. But, you know, just to be like, oh my God, I'm not racing to get to an airport. I'm not getting up at 3 a.m. to get to an airport. I'm not spending 4 hours on an airplane to spend 2 hours in a car for a 2-hour meeting to go back to the airport. And Yeah, but you and I have just had that conversation over and over again. And that's why I kind of said, well, I'm going to do something a little more hyper local where I don't have to get on an airplane as much. Although I am going to Phoenix on Friday to the Sharon Lecter Ranch. I won't lie.
Ooh, there's
Can't
worse
wait.
places to go than Sharon
There are
Lecter's
worse
ranch as
places
well.
to go than the Lecter Ranch. I can tell you that. But I mean, but that'll be my first time on an airplane since the pandemic. So,
Yeah.
But you know, that really weighed on you. I know it did. You know, you've got two brand new babies who you love. You've got your other daughters you love. And if you guys follow Aaron on Facebook, you're going to see he's a family man. He loves his family. He loves his daughters. And you didn't want to miss raising them or being with them or living on the road. And you knew it was a really critical time. And I'm just recanting everything Aaron and I've talked about we talk all the time, but in our many conversations. And you knew that you needed to pivot.
I did.
You knew that it wasn't that you didn't love your job, you didn't love the company. That wasn't it at all. You're making unbelievable money. The product is unbelievable because I've sold it many times as a reseller.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't any of that. So I'm going to let you take it from there. I've kind of done the setup of sometimes people pivot even when you're at the top of your game. You're making all the money. You're crushing it. The company loves you. They keep promoting you, but now you got to pivot. So I'm going to let you take it.
Yeah, no, well, I think your buildup is right on point. And we can even go back to the reason that I decided to leave active duty when I did is I knew that was going to be a portion of my life for a certain amount of time, but it wasn't going to be my whole life. And the most important things to me have from day one have been my wife and my kids and my family and their happiness and really providing a life for them that was, you know, or the best that I could do, really not better than anything else, but the best that I could possibly give them. And that's not just money. That's not just making money, or that's not just being successful. That's also being present. So I had to make a really hard decision to probably the best job I've ever had, and flattered. Honestly, I was flattered to be offered it to begin with, and then to be successful with a group of human beings that I just think are really, really smart and do things the right way. I had to kind of leave to really reprioritize what was the most important in my life, and that was to for the twins. And then I have 4 daughters, and they need their dad more than they need their dad's paycheck. And for me, I said there has to be some sort of a balance to do both. And to be really candid, I think that I had the skill set to be able to bring it back in and do this job and be a great father and not have to sacrifice one for the other. So I took a massive risk.
You did. And so literally, like the office you're sitting in, you built at your house.
Yeah, we did. So literally I just said, I need a place to work. I need a place to be able to do this. I need to be here because if I can get in for a feeding, I pop through the office door and I'm there. So we built an office. We formed this space to reprioritize my life and to kind of have work, but also be available without having to jump on an airplane, without having to stay at a Hilton somewhere where I can be home in 60 seconds. And I can be there instead of, showing up at 11 o'clock at night to kiss my wife goodnight and then out at 4 a.m. the next morning. So it was a way for me to get the balance back in my life, but also chase my personal dream. And that's just to be an entrepreneur. I've never hid the fact from anyone. I've always wanted to stand on my own 2 feet. I absolutely loathe, I don't want to say taking orders, but that's a pretty decent way. I don't like to be told what to do, to be really honest.
And how did you make it 10 years in the military and you didn't like to be told what to do? You had to be
I'm really good at it. The good news is, and luckily my wife maybe might argue, I was really, really good at it for a really long time. But I like to, if something's broke, I want to fix it. I don't want to just keep doing it because we're supposed to do it. Or
even ask permission to fix it. Like, I know you're just the guy that you get in there and you just get it done.
Yeah, I literally roll my sleeves up and I want to get stuff done. I don't have time to sit or waste. I'm 100 miles an hour all the time. And I needed a place where I could completely open, I'll say my individual throttle up and just put the gas pedal on the floor. And the only person limiting me by either my time or my earning potential is me. And I have a very, very deep understanding. And luckily I've read, books from several of folks in our network and connected that I'm the only one responsible for my success. And me being successful doesn't take anything away from anybody else being successful. So why can't I connect with like-minded people, bring a product to market, with like-minded people that have those same type of goals? And I've been very, very fortunate in that my partners at the Auto Miner, we've done great business over the years. Similar, there were clients before we were partners, and we hit it off, immediately then. And now it's been really, really fun to make that full pivot, to leave corporate America. Everything, my success now is in my own two hands and right here in this office that I built with my own two hands with some help, quite a bit of help, I'll admit, because I'm mildly handy, but if you're watching, you are. Thank you for helping me. So for me, it was a chance to really bring everything in house, and I quite literally bet my career on it. I mean, I on a dime decided to leave corporate America. They have the same hat, Joe. I left my income. I left everything on the table. I left everything that was secure for something I could control. And look, that's terrifying. I think you could sit on any of really smart folks' shows, Frank's or Glenn's or anybody else, that gets on here and talks about it, that being an entrepreneur and pivoting is scary. And it's also massively fulfilling.
And it's fun.
It's so much fun. I mean, I'm
learning new things, isn't it? Like with my huge, I'm learning so much new stuff. And I'm like, wow. Because I mean, don't you think that people like you and me, Aaron, I mean, I'm like 1 or 2 years older than you, but people like us, like we get bored pretty easily and we like to learn new things. And so when you make a massive pivot, like there's a lot of tailwind, a lot of catching up you got to do and to learn. And so for me, like, I know it's like drinking from a fire hose some days, but I love it. It's like what gets me going. And I know it does you.
Yeah, I don't sit still well. So for me, it's like, I always have that, like, hey, you got to do this and then this and then this, and here's the result, right? So it's always just keeping in mind, what are the different actions I need to do to keep the ball moving forward? And I said this to my team just this last week is you will notice that I work crazy fast, and I don't expect you to keep up with me, but what I do hope to expect is that you're never waiting on me. And if I'm a stopping point for anything in business, we have a problem. So as a leader and as someone who is trying to drive the ship, I don't want to be that stopping point, or to be the place where things just sit or don't continue to progress.
But I love what you just said. So I'm going to repeat it for anyone just turning in or on the replay, or if you just didn't catch it. It's that, as a leader, Aaron says, I don't expect you to keep up with me. And that's probably why he's the leader, right? He runs at just a hyper focused pace. But he says, but I don't want you to be waiting on me. Oh my God. I think that is probably the most profound thing I've heard forever, because I've worked for people that it's like, seriously, who works for who? Because, you're waiting and they can't make a decision, or they won't make a decision, or the urgency isn't there because it's really not their problem. They're sitting at the top of the pyramid and it's like, whatever, I'll get to it when I can, which I heard that for years. I'll get to it when I can, and it's I need it now because I'm one under you. I need it now. And so I love that you said that. I think that's the most powerful statement in the whole show. We can go home now.
Yeah, I've worked for some really phenomenal leaders, both in the military and out. And I've worked for not phenomenal leaders. And I think, I keep a black book of things that I like, things that I don't like, things that I'd like to replicate, things that I'll never do. And the one thing, and I'll be honest, Dennis taught this to me on the last place, was that when you serve, you can continue to push. And as much as I hate being pushed, he maybe was better at pushing me than any human being ever, including my wife, to get more out of me, because I knew that he would get in a fight with me. And I don't even know if he's watching. I don't think we're friends on Facebook, but I knew that no matter what, he would get in a fight with me. And for me, that's all I needed to go. And I just want to be a leader that is always willing to roll up his sleeves, that's always willing to get in a fight, that's always willing to pick up that customer service phone call, that's always willing to be the example. Because if I can't be the example, who's going to be it? And I just try to conduct, business that way, moving forward. So,
well, Joe Ingram says, Aaron, I love that you're conscious of yourself and your pace. You won't be the speed bump or abide by the speed limit of the team. Genius. I agree. Very well put, Mr. Joe. That's why we have 50 hats. Well, I can vouch for you. You and I worked on a very large project together a couple years ago for an OEM, and we had the whole business center, and we crushed it. Killed it. Like to the point where they had to bring in analysts to double check their other analysts because they couldn't believe how good the results were. That's a true story, y'all. And anyways, but through that process, it was a many-month process, and I was kind of the lead on it, and but it was Aaron's product that we were, anyways. So Aaron and I were just in this thing every single day, talking about it, pivot, do this, do that, let's do this. And so, I mean, I can just say, and I've worked with you with many dealers and on many projects, but the big one was out in California for a manufacturer. And on the relaunch of a vehicle. I mean, it was a big deal. But that being said, so, I mean, like, I can personally vouch that, like, you don't just get paid and you jump out and you're like, hey, Lisa, you're out on an island, because I had to rely on you so much because of your digital expertise and what you knew the things that I didn't know. And, but I had the relationship with the OEM. And so, together, right. Because, all of us cannot be everything to everybody. And I teach that when I speak and when I work with sales organizations. It's like, not everybody, I can't do everything. Aaron can't do. So when we're able to come together and we're able to, not get like worry about ego and, who's taking the lead and who's doing this. But when you can come together and you can put together your talent, your brilliance, your educate, all of that, then you have the kind of results that you and I had out in California, where they had to hire analysts to reanalyze their analysts because they said, we've never seen results like this before. Something must be janky with this deal. And I'm like, I mean, we flew out there. I'm like, there's nothing janky. Bring it on, boys. They did, right. And we did. And it was our biggest success, Aaron, mine and yours.
No, I think I've been very fortunate, with yourself and surrounding myself with people that are smarter than me, that are better at certain things than I am, or that bring a value add that maybe I didn't bring to the table. And if I have a superpower, maybe it's a light version of your superpower, and that I know where my limits are, and I know what I'm capable of, and I'm really good at what I'm good at, but I'm also not good at what I'm not good at, and I'm happy to own that and bring in someone else who's better at it and who's going to keep me honest and keep me on my toes. And I've been very fortunate. I've done that with my new, with the new project, the Auto Miner. I'm learning something every single day about parts of the car business that even though I've been in it for almost a decade, still know. So.
Your new project, you're a partner, you're the president of the company.
I am. So I guess first, I'm blessed. I'm honored to even have the opportunity. This is something that I've been searching for forever. And I'm very fortunate that the partners at the Auto Miner were really gracious enough to give me an opportunity to bring it to market. So what we're doing is we've kind of built the new state of the art data mining, equity mining, kind of DMS first customer tool. The part is I'm doing sales and service. I'm hitting every profit center in the dealership where, I think other tools have been very successful leveraging the sales side. And it's a huge part of the car business. We know that, but with COVID and with the changes and now inventory issues and not getting vehicles fast enough, our dealer partners have had to try to figure out where they're going to make money and how they're going to pay to bring their people back on staff that they had to furlough or let go or whatever that may be. Right. And we've had to kind of find a new normal on what does outbound advertising look like versus database marketing that I can do myself. Where can I move that money around to make the most sense for my clients? And can I reduce my outbound cost, especially now with lesser inventory, reduce outbound cost of advertising? So without geeking out on it too hard, we're very, very fortunate to bring a platform that does sales and service. It ties the ends of the house together. It also is, I'm really stoked that we're rolling out a custom dealer app that allows now any human being can download, let's say the Moritz Auto Group dealer reward app on their phone. And now I can send, we can do text messages and emails and direct mail and video and all of these amazing things that as salespeople and as businesses we need to do to be successful. But now I actually want to be in their pocket, and I want to think Starbucks for auto dealers. And I know this is a huge focus as the big boxes are trying to move that way. And I'm super excited that we have it. And I had really great dealer partners that gave us kind of the start of the idea, and we ran with it. And so as a disruptor of bringing things to market is kind of my thing, and I like shaking the cage a little bit. I'm coming to market early now, and we're going to see what it looks and feels like. And then, obviously the doors have been wide open for different pieces. So super excited to be having conversations at the tier 1 level and at the tier 3 level, and just folks that have said, hey, you've done good business with me in the past. I'm willing to hear what you have to say now. And that's all I could ask for.
It sounds like you and I are going to have to go back out to California and have a conversation with those people that couldn't believe the success we had on that last campaign.
Hey, I'll roadshow with you anytime, Lisa. Just let me know. I'll pack.
Always a good time. Always a good time. So one of the cool things, because you took me through a demo, one of the cool things, because I obviously am very familiar with equity data mining and all of those products. But one of the cool things it has is that you have the capability to actually control and run your Facebook ads without having to pay those exorbitant fees to agencies and things like that. And they're actually much more focused and what am I trying to say? Like you're able to target the customers in your database versus just kind of going out there, you know, talking to everybody.
Yeah, I think big picture, and we don't have to go down the tangent of kind of my big picture goal for this, but is to give the dealer the opportunity to execute campaigns themselves or my team, obviously, based on their data without having to kick it to a marketing company, without having to work through an account manager that doesn't, you know, understand that data or isn't in it maybe as much as they are. So now we've built this kind of open platform a little bit that allows dealers to leverage our tools and to run advertising that they're currently running, maybe in-house or maybe with other vendors, and do that themselves. And I don't charge a percentage of advertising costs because it just doesn't, it's not my business model. So it's an interesting way for me, without being salesy, to say, hey, I'm going to give you a better product and really save you money, because this is the future of automotive advertising. I think the model has been a little bit broken or skewed, and everybody's trying to figure out what that looks like. And I think that we got a pretty good grasp on it. And, you know, folks are going to kind of funnel more to the way we're doing business versus the way that we've done business with these kind of massive budgets in the past.
Joe Ingram says he's here in Cali. Another reason to come out. So yes, our partner out there is in Newport Beach, which does not suck.
Newport Beach does not suck at all. Joe
does not suck. And I know Joe Ingram is in Southern California too. So Joe, I promise we will we'll call you if we come out there, but you ought to hook up Aaron with a bunch of your dealers. So Aaron, I think you do have some sort of little offer, if whoever's watching this, that they can take a test drive, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, obviously I'm willing to open the playbook up and have a conversation, but I think because of really you and your network and things, I know that the folks that you would work with or that would reach out to us are going to do good business. So I'm willing to kind of offer, and I'll waive any sort of set of things that are coming on board. I'm even willing to do a massive kind of just price piece discount. I'll do a 50% off to say, I'll prove to you that my team is this good. I'll prove to you that my product is this good. And I'm willing to let kind of our work ethic and our results stand for themselves. And I know that the folks that you work with and network with won't take advantage of that process. So yeah, I think I'm willing to kind of launch in the market with something that's really, really aggressive from a value add and a price point to really get the ball moving. So thank you for the opportunity of kind of sharing it here.
Well, you know, there's very few people I bring on to even talk about their companies. You know, I brought on AutoMax because I love them and I think they're the best recruiters out there. Craig and Anthony, trainers, and they're awesome. So there's very few people I bring on.
Sure.
But you know, I've worked with them and they work with my clients, and I've worked with you on lots of stuff. Yep. And so anyways, so y'all, how do people get a hold of you?
I think we're on Facebook here. You feel free to send me a direct message on Facebook. It's super active. You can also go to the Auto Miner Facebook page, or you can go the Auto Miner, kind of like the Ohio State. TheAutominer.com is the website.
Or ER. ER, thanks.
Yep, you got it. Or you can check us out on Facebook. You can send a message. That'll come directly to me. I'm happy to handle those things as they come in. There's no need to go through, have anybody else talk to you. I'd love to just jump on the phone or talk to anybody that's willing to reach out or kick it around. And really excited to be rolling several dealer partners out moving forward. So can really have a great conversation and link them up.
Every day you text me and you're like, I got this many more and this many more. I'm like, dang, slow down. But that's good.
Yeah, no, we're very fortunate, and that business is good. That business is growing quickly. That my team has been very quick and speedy. I think the one thing about, being an upstart and being lean is that we have really, really passionate people that are like me, and we're like-minded, and we're working until 1 or 2 a.m. and then we're back up working again at 5 and 6 because we just love what we do and we're excited to what we're bringing to the market. And then
in between time, you're jumping in on every 30-minute feedings.
I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can. My wife is a saint. She holds this house together. I would be absolutely completely lost without her. I don't even pretend. I wouldn't even know how to grocery shop, I think, at this point in my life. So she holds the house together, but I snuck in I took a nighttime last night. So you can see I got a little twin lack of sleep on my face, but look, I'm here. I'm not in a hotel. I get to hold babies every single day.
Oh my God, y'all, they are the most perfect, beautiful, identical twins you have ever laid eyes on. They're unbelievable. All right, so as we sign off, give us your prediction for the rest of the year for the automotive industry. Coming out of a pandemic, What are you seeing? I mean, you're working with dealers all over the country, from east to west to north to south, and there's better parts of the country than others, right? I mean,
there are.
The great state of Texas, you guys know, like our country has been open for business. Real estate, we're crushing it. We're busy. Mortgages, we're busy, busy, busy. My automotive friends and clients, they're busy in Texas. But I talked to, a friend, client, friend, dear friend yesterday, sitting on the East Coast, and they're dying on the vine.
Yeah, I think there's some parts of the country where my friends and my partners are really, really struggling just to stay open, or just to pay the bills, or just to figure out what the next 30 or 60 days look like, because it's crazy where they are. So I think there's pockets that are better than others. I think if you're a Dallas, Texas, or any, some places really in the Midwest that didn't get hit as hard, you probably had a great May, and you probably had a decent April, and you probably wish you had inventory in June and July, right? So I think my official forecast is that dealers that have cars will win in the next 60 days. If they don't have cars, those who win the used car market, especially the buyback trade-in market, are going to win in the next 45 to 60. You can hold front and gross on those big time. I think we saw that in May, where dealers were breaking front and gross records, because thankfully we're no longer stealing volume from each other. We're able to actually weaponize our own inventory and hold decent gross profits on that. So I think there is some good news for a lot of folks in the business. I think Q4 is going to be huge. I think that the Q4 number, we're going to get a little bit of a slowdown for folks that we pulled into the market early with these great incentives that manufacturers have. But I think Q4 is going to be
we also depleted inventories on the new car side. A lot of the factories are shut down for them to ramp up, and the new car. I personally do not hold a big forecast for the new cars, and that isn't because it isn't demand. I
think you're right. I think Q4
came out too hard, too fast, and
I think you're right. I think
your life and -0, and we'll pay you to take the car off the lot. Like, I don't think we needed to do that, but they did, and so now we've depleted inventories, and they're not going to get cars for a while.
I mean, we've got big stores that are going to get 40 units in the next 30 days. Like, it's just, it's a crisis, to be completely, it's a product crisis. Mm-hmm. And I understand why folks are nervous, but I think if I have to guess who's going to win, it's going to be the folks that win in the used car market, that have really good processes in either moving, or those that have figured out logistics quicker than the folks that haven't figured out logistics. That's a big focus for a lot of my dealers right now, is how fast can I get them? Who can I get them for? Do I need to get somebody to get them to me faster? And then I think we'll see what Q4 comes out from a new car perspective, but used cars will be the winner. If it was me, I'd put my money on the back end of the house and used cars moving for the rest of the year.
So Joe Ingram, he's being a fatalist here. Before pandemic 2, what is the prediction? So I guess he's saying there's going to be another pandemic in the fall. But let's just hope that leadership in this country does not close down the country again because of it. What MFG quotas for your dealership payouts was removed? Manufacturer quotas for your payouts was removed, and we got back to selling for dealership, not the manufacturer. Joe, we've been selling for the manufacturer ever since I've been in the car business. In the 80s, they paid us. They paid the salespeople, and so what happens is, what does money do, y'all? It drives behavior. So if you are the factory and you want to dump all of the Vipers, then you pay the salesperson $500 spend money, and they're walking around everything else. The manufacturer's always driven since the 80s. Since I got in the car business in 1984, I've never known a time where the manufacturer is not driving it, from driving behavior, both from sales people and from the dealers in the way they ordered. Just saying.
I think you're right. I think chasing the large volume number is a game that some dealers play and some don't. And I think
we have to survive.
Yeah, you have to play. You have to, and in many cases, you have to play to survive. But I also think that the manufacturer has got a big job coming up that they need to get. They got to get our dealers product. So whether they're going to figure out what they're going to do with a marketing plan on how to slide, funds or co-op funds or reimbursement pieces, and the money side of the business coming back with the lack of product, I think is still in flux. And we're trying to figure that out at the dealer level, really across multiple manufacturers. So I know they're working hard. I know they're doing the best they can to kind of get their ducks back in a row. And hopefully that means putting trucks on big trucks and send them to Texas, because you guys could use them.
We can use them. Our dealers are hurting. So Joey, Bill Gates said there's going to be another pandemic. Well, we know Bill Gates said it. Bill Gates is going to release the next pandemic so that he can bring out the
cure.
The cure that, I don't know about you, but I'm not taking one of his shots. Let's see here. Scott and Sean DeFoster, absolutely. Yeah. So this has been a great conversation. If you're not in the automotive business, maybe the last 15 minutes of this would not have been exciting for you, but it gets down to, at the end of the day, if you are an entrepreneur or you're thinking about making that pivot, that side hustle, turning that into doing something different, getting re-inspired, never waste a good pandemic.
Well, the politicians are, so don't waste it in your business either.
Oh my God. Yeah, don't even get me started. Jeez Louise. Yes. So anyway, so that being said, do not waste a good pandemic. I mean, we've all had more time. And I was talking to someone last night and I said, this has been the great equalizer for everybody, right? I mean, we all kind of fell under the quarantine and the fear and the, what am I going to do? And whatever. I didn't waste a good pandemic. I came out swinging. And so you have too. And it's like, come on, people. Every one of you can do that too.
Yep. If you have a strong digital process and you are a buttoned up process dealer like my friends at Jackie Cooper in Tulsa, you will win, because there's a lot of folks that just aren't. So I think if there's I'm not there yet, or I'm trying to figure out how to, or how do I get to the next piece, I think you look at the Paragons of the world, you look at the guys that have mastered that process. Yeah. And that cadence and giving the customer what they actually want, which sounds crazy, I know.
I actually talked to Brian Benstock recently, and so last month he closed number 16 in the country in Honda. Now remember, he's sitting in the middle of the pandemic in Queens, New York. And of course, he's massively, massively disappointed because he's always in the top two, right, or three. Yeah. But he's number 16, and then I think on in Acura, I believe he told me that they were number 2 in the country last month, and it's because he didn't have to do the biggest pivots because he was already set up digitally. He was already set up to go to market. It still affected him because if you look at what's going on in New York, I mean, the demand isn't there, obviously. Sure. But when he had to pivot on a dime, it wasn't like, okay, stop the press. We got to redo everything, retrain everybody. It's what he did.
Yeah, just a little turn signal, just change lanes.
Yeah, and so
I think the folks that can change quickly are the ones that are winning and really making money. I mean, let's be candid. They're the ones that are making money on the front end. If you can work that process, switch to a new lane and be very, very effective, you're going to be more profitable. And I think those are my words that I'm giving the folks as we're talking to dealers is let's make sure we get in line with what the market wants and what the market's going to support. Yep. Let's, weaponize your inventory to support that, that demand in the lane that it needs to be in. And then let's just work really good process and give the client what they want. And I think you'll find that
Joe Ingram has already sent you a referral. He said, I did the DM Auto Miner to connect Aaron Brittany. Awesome. With Aaron Brittany. Okay. So look for that DM and don't waste a good pandemic. That's right. That's going to be my quote going out, Lisa Copeland 2020. So, no, Aaron, thank you. I know you're busy and I appreciate you just sharing your heart and your wisdom with everybody, because I know there's people out there that need to hear it right now. I know that, you're looking and, potentially your job's been eliminated. You've been furloughed. Don't waste a good pandemic. Like, now's the time to go get licenses and certified and invest in yourself and figure out, what is the next big thing that you can go do, that you can pivot. And, for those of us who have been road warriors, and a lot of our friends are road warriors, and you kind of realize, man, it's kind of good to not be on the road every single week. Right. And, so how can you reinvent yourself like what Aaron did, taking that skill set, making connections, finding opportunities for yourself, because you found that opportunity.
I've been very fortunate to land in some really good company, and, I'll leave you with this. My dad has a saying that, I'm the type of person that could fall into a pile of mess and come out smelling like roses. I think that maybe there's a little truth to that, but I think the one thing I know for sure is that I can pull myself out, and I'm not willing to put in the work. I'm not afraid to put in the work, I guess I should say, I'm not afraid to pull myself out of whatever hole we get into. And if that's a pandemic, or if that's a shutdown, or if that's a whatever it needs to be, I'll figure out a way to win. And I'm going to help my partners figure out how to win. Because I just don't like to lose. So
Yep.
That's
And
I guess that's where I'm at. And
that, and like I said, I co-signed for this young guy, and I've done lots of deals with them, and they've all been really good. I mean, you and I've never even had a bad deal. That's what's crazy. Shelly Jean says, I've been taking courses in digital marketing and love the pivot. That's good. Okay.
do it.
Everybody, sayonara. Is today Wednesday? Today is Wednesday. I want you to see, Aaron, I'm not crazy. It just popped up on my calendar. Aaron, today at 1 o'clock.
There it is.
Aaron and I had a little, like, was it at noon? Because we're both on Central. Was it noon or 1 today? So anyways, I'm glad we caught up with everybody. And what's up, Aaron? That's Joe.
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, send Aaron a DM. You guys now know him and know where to follow him. And I hope you have a fantastic day. And I will see everybody soon enough.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
See ya.